Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. Jay Rosenwig had some really good suggestions, I think, for us all, both in hiring as well as in leadership, as well as, frankly, in life. I thought his comments about some of the leaders that he looks for, that he wants to hire, show humility, show curiosity, show empathy or compassion or kindness. Rather than the sort of command and control assertiveness and aggressiveness that we would have typically thought of as CEOs in the past. I thought that's kind of interesting. Humility, curiosity, empathy, compassion, kindness, authenticity. Interesting descriptive words. I'm reminded of a guy I worked for, Jimmy Patterson, who used to always say, in the end, people buy from people, people want to work for people. And people want to do deals with people. In the end, it's all about people. It's all about people relationships. You can have a good opportunity. You can have a good financial analysis. You can have a good product. You can have a good technology. But in the end, the person you buy from, the individual you hire, the person you work for, the relationship you build in a transaction, in a deal, is another person. And you want people that are real, that are authentic, that are hopefully kind, that, maybe have some humility. I also found, this back and forth that Jay and I had in regards to this attitude of if the ego of the founder or the CEO became too big, that they bought a sports team, got on a front page of a magazine, cover a magazine, bought a jet plane, etc., were reasons why you might want to sell the company. And I think there's some truth for that. And I've frankly had some personal experience in that regard. And I think that I think there's truth in that. It should be more about the company. It should be more about the vision of the company, that it should be about the success stardom of the founder. I think that there's an academic concept called the shadow of the future that is kind of interesting to apply and think about here. This concept that's been studied about the shadow of the future is if you deal with someone only once, you can be an a-hole. But if you're going to deal with someone more than once, in other words, it's an ongoing selling relationship, or you want a recommendation from that person to someone else, or if you're worried about a bad recommendation or reference from that person to someone else, or it's an ongoing partnership or joint venture arrangement or whatever it is, you got to have a good relationship. It's got to be a win-win kind of a situation. The win-lose that so many of us think about in negotiations or bargaining or deals or whatnot only really works if you're going to be dealing with that person once, because they're going to be so pissed off and upset. They're not going to want to deal with you again. The other thing that's sort of academically been studied is game theory. And there's this whole concept of game theory and why it works and why it doesn't work and what it proves. But the thing that came out of it that I like the most, coming back to this win-win versus win-lose, is that if you try to force someone into a lose situation, always the best strategy, which makes intuitive sense, is tit for tat. So if someone messes you up, you should mess them up. If they put you into a win-lose, you put them into a lose-win scenario. It's a tit for tat. And if someone gives you a win, you give them a win. And so the best scenario is win-win-win all the way along, rather than this win-lose, lose-win, win-lose, lose-win, tit for tat going back. But it is interesting that computer simulations, game simulations, people over and over again say the best way to discipline someone if they're not playing the game is to do a tit for tat kind of response, which says that really, if you have any kind of a future with people, you can't be an a-hole. You got to be reasonable, because all they're going to do is they're going to be that back to you, and you're going to be in this vicious circle until someone gets out of it. So I think that there's a lot of interesting learning here in regards to what Jay had to say about the leaders that we want and the CEOs that we want to hire, and frankly, the bosses that we want to work for. In survey after survey, 57% of people that leave jobs actually don't leave the job, don't leave the company. They quit bosses. People that don't have good bosses quit the the vast majority of turnover is caused by the boss, not by something else. And that compensation, while it's important, is not the only thing. It's recognition, it's encouragement, it's education, it's professional advancement. It's all those other things that come with a good relationship, not just compensation. And so I guess in the end, out of this whole analysis of what new leaders are today, and what you want to do is you want to have a good relationship with people long term in hiring, whether it be for Twitter or something else, is, I guess, put in the process the unexpected person, the person that you wouldn't expect to be part of the process. In setting up boards, charitable organizations, and things like that, someone came to me and said, always make sure that there's a couple of unexpected people at the table. And you don't have to listen to them all the time. You don't have to choose them to be the leader, but you want them in the process to shake things up, to be a little bit out of the box, to see if there's a radical new idea, to think about whether the process is. And so I guess what Jay is saying is, don't dismiss them. You don't have to hire that out of the box, that unusual, that very different individual that's got the different experience set. I have gone from different industries. I started out in the restaurant business, hotel business, entertainment business, beer business, conglomerate business, pharmaceutical business, hockey business, pharmaceutical business, biopharma, medical device, real estate, all over the map. But finance, strategy, people have been constants in everything. And so when you're thinking about hiring, when you're thinking about putting together a board of directors, when you're thinking about a friend group, when you're thinking about people you want to invite to a dinner party, I think it's all good advice. Invite the unusual suspect to the table, the unusual person, the out-of-the-box idea. Think about diversity. Think about inclusion. And in the end, you might find that that person is the person to choose. Anyway, 2 cents on Jay's interview and his suggestions on interviewing for the CEO of Twitter. I remind you, I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock on 960 AM. You can stream me online at saga960am.ca. You can get all my podcasts and videocasts on my website, briancrombie.com. Good night, everybody.